How you going, everyone? So on today's podcast, we've got the one and only Smiling Monster, which I'd consider to be an influencer, at least on YouTube, because you've been building up your Twitter/X account, and yeah, YouTube's very impressive. Are you muted at all, or are you good?
No, it should be working. I think it's coming
Okay,
through.
cool. Yep, yeah, it's coming through good. Sorry, man. It looked like you said something, but it didn't come through. So we'll see how it
Yeah.
goes anyway. Yeah. So what's been going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Just doing life, part-time job, content, gaming, everything. Just dealing with one day at a time. Waiting for Christmas because then I can get a couple of days off and just game properly. And
Oh, that's
test out
cool,
all
man.
the new games. Or currently playing Walking Dead and then waiting for Eternal Paradox.
Yeah. So the first question I usually ask people that are in the Gala community is like, how did you stumble across Gala?
I stumbled across Gala while I was going through like the whole rabbit hole of crypto. I think it was like early 2021, and I was playing Escape from Tarkov, right? And it's in Escape from Tarkov, you have like a bunker, and then in that bunker you can build a Bitcoin miner. And then I built the Bitcoin miner, and I was getting like 1 Bitcoin a day once you upgrade it, and that Bitcoin was selling in game for like $140. I mean, 140k dollars. And I was like, oh, this is cool. This buys like equipment and weapons and all that. And then within the span of like 4 months, it went from $140k to 430k. And I was like, wait a second. The Bitcoin miner is linked to the actual real life price of Bitcoin, the price movement. So then I
Yeah.
checked the chart from when I started playing Escape from Tarkov and when I was the current day within the span of 4 months. And it was like Bitcoin was at like 12,000, like 17,000. And then it shot up to like 60,000. I was like, wait, hang on, like how is this possible? And then I started researching. I knew about Bitcoin since like 2015, 2016, and it was like, oh, I can buy some Bitcoin or like I can get a kebab. And I was like, the kebab one, obviously. Like I'll put the Bitcoin off. And then 2017 and 2019, like the crash and all of that, and I was just like, I had it in the head a lot of bit like what the government tell you and like what the news tell you. It's like drug dealers. It's not proper money. It's not like all the propaganda just in my ear. So I was like, oh, I don't need to learn about it right now. I'll just push it off. And then when I was playing the game and it actually turned up in game, I was like, okay, I need to figure this out. Because like I'm a gamer, right? So if anything's in the game and like I need to understand it, I'll go and research it. So then I started going down the rabbit hole of like what is Bitcoin, creating a wallet, what is a blockchain, like the 100 hours you put in to like understand the whole Web3 world that we're in. And then
Hmm.
I got to that. I was like, along the way, I tried DeFi, got scammed, got rugged, like got fished. And then I experienced all of that. And like, oh, maybe this crypto thing's not for me, man. And then I hopped onto NFTs and I was like profile pictures as like code on the blockchain. It's like, this makes no sense. Why is like monkeys and lions and like all of these animals selling for like ridiculous amounts of money? And I was like, okay, maybe NFTs aren't for me as well. And then I happened to go to like the Coin Gecko or Coin Market Cap, and they just had a new category which was like metaverse tokens. And then I clicked on it, like, what's all this about? Because I was like searching for the new thing. Clicked on it, Gala was on the first page, and then they talked about NFTs in gaming. And you know
Hmm.
when like that light bulb moment just clicks in your head and you just like have like a rush. It's like, oh, this makes complete sense. Like I've been playing games for like 20 years, and like if you have it as NFTs, I can trade it. It's not like a monkey profile picture, it's like actual in-game items, like a
Hmm.
legendary weapon or a crafted sword. And then after that clicked, I started researching gaming, like NFTs, Web3, metaverse, all of that. And that's how I discovered Gala.
Well, you done pretty well, man. Like I thought, like because I haven't like deep dived like everything to do with Smiling Monster, I just thought you were like a generalized, like gamer that streamed and all the rest of it, and then
Yeah.
come over. So you used to do that?
Yeah. I used to stream a mobile game back in like 2013, 2014. It was called
Hmm.
Girls Front Line. That's when I started making content like properly. I did try other things like what is it, For Honor, and then like old school RuneScape and like all of that along the way, but I never stuck to it. It was just like a hobby type thing. And then this mobile game, because I was playing it really well, and I used to just hop on to like Twitch streams, like YouTube videos, and give like advice or comment things. And people like, oh, you should like do it yourself because you know a lot about the game, and I could actually watch you and learn things. So I did that like on and off for I think 4 to 6 months for Girls Frontline. If you go to my YouTube channel and go all the way down, you can see like my progress of the content creator like progression is like Girls Frontline, then like maybe For Honor, and then when I really started doing content was this game called Albion Online. It came out 2015. I played it for 3.5 years, and I think 2018, 2019, I saved up like 4 months worth of recordings of clips and like things that I think people would like to know about. And then I just made a bunch of YouTube videos. And then every day, every couple of days, I'd be releasing like guides for this and like chests, like loot from 100 chests. So you can get probability of if you're getting good loot or if you should do this activity to make money. And then that's how I started getting into content. And then ever since then, I've been streaming, I've been making videos on and off for the last 5, 6 years. And I did pretty well in Albion Online. Like I was streaming on Twitch, and it's really competitive over on Twitch. So I started streaming on YouTube, and I was getting average like 100, 150 viewers. And then I was like, okay, let me go back to Twitch because Albion Online was getting really big at that point, and they had Twitch drops. So then I moved back over to Twitch, but the people that were on Twitch, obviously the regular viewers, they'd go to them, right? So I was like, maybe I go back to YouTube. I don't do the Twitch drops thing. And then ever since then, it's just like been back and forth between Twitch and YouTube. But then I stuck to YouTube because most of the people on Web3 are YouTube, and there's no like proper categories for the games on Twitch. But recently, with like Big Time and all these other games, they are starting to add categories. And with the recent announcement at TwitchCon that you can stream to both YouTube and Twitch, I've been doing both. So you can catch me on both YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah. Well, with the YouTube, like I noticed with some of the games, like if you're gonna like even talking about them, like if I done a podcast just on Miranda's, like I won't even come up with Miranda's tile. You know how like some, you know, so like there's definitely room to grow as far as like actually having that available. I don't know who does that. If a gal is meant to like reach out to someone on YouTube, or if it's just something that if it's used so many times or uploaded that it just automatically gets set into the system. But yeah, I used to, so like this is going back probably about 10 years ago or so. I used to play StarCraft 2, and I used to stream over, I think it was Twitch as well, because I was playing Masters in StarCraft 2, just 1v1s. And you know, I don't know, man, like I don't mind the whole game inside and all the rest of it, but like dealing with gamers, they're a very salty bunch. So like in the comments all the time, I'd be like, oh, why'd you build this at this time? Like you should have this, this and that at the 2-minute mark. And it's like, look, mate, I'm the one that's playing. I'm trying to watch the chat as well and communicate plus play. Plus I'm trying to scout the enemy and know what they're doing. And it's just like, you know, fuck off. So I think,
yeah, they can be min-maxers. Like a lot of gamers, like you need to do the optimized strategy, you need to do optimize units and players and all that. And I get that because you're a gamer, you want the best thing. But some people are just there to have fun, right? You need to remember that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, man. It's like it's a tough road. Like podcasting to me is the perfect one because I can talk to the gamers, right? So I can talk to you that might have like a late level 80 character and you've pumped out, you know, 200 hours or 300 hours to get there. And I don't have to put in that time, but I can still talk to the best player in a game. Where like if you're a gamer and you're a streamer, like no one's watching you if you're level 1. So like your whole
unless you're entertaining. It's like two ways for a streamer, right? It's like you're either really good at the gameplay or you're really entertaining. And if you have both, then you're like basically God in terms of entertainment value.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching some YouTube videos on it last night, like how Dr. Disrespect used to be like the head of like Twitch essentially as far as streamers. And then he ended up essentially standing down, and then it was like Ninja come in, and everyone, like all Dr. Disrespect's like following went over to him because he was sort of like a real gamer. You know what I mean? Like he'd talk, be nice, but he'd fucking rage too. So, you know.
People like to see people rage. Like it's just human nature, right? You like to see people lose their shit, and it's just like it's entertaining.
People like drama.
Yeah, that too.
So when you're there and you're dabbling around, you're looking at charts and you're trying to conceptualize this whole Web3 gaming and like owning in-game assets and all the rest of it. But at the time, there was a couple of different ones that were going. As far as I remember, it was like Splinterlands, Sandbox, and maybe a couple of others that were sort of big in the space when Gala started to come out. So, what made you choose Gala instead of Splinterlands or one of the other ones? Was it just the buy and entry point, or?
No, so I don't really know about like the whole other gaming side. I was just looking at metaverse tokens, right? And then I was going through like the website, if they had any like video footage, if they had any actually live games, and like basically going off like the game perspective. I don't normally look at charts. Like I don't look at the technical analysis. I'm just looking for gameplay, right? So what I was looking for is like who the founders are. Do they have an actual live game? Do they have any like podcasts or videos on that? And then at that time, I think Gala had 4 or 5 videos, like 4 or 5 months worth of videos on like Miranda's Town Star. It's back when like Jason was bold and like no beard, and like Miranda's Master and Benefactor were all on stream, and they'd be on stream like majority of the time. And it's like, oh, with Gala, we're gonna be doing this. Like you can get Town Star and like nodes, and this is our vision. And then when I learned that Benefactor was the CEO or like part of the team to do MySpace and Farmville, and they made Townstar, I was like, well, he's made Farmville, so he's going to make Townstar awesome. So let me dive deeper into this. And then all the other games at that time, they were not gaming games. They were like DeFi, click here for a couple of seconds every day and like do some interaction type games. And I was like, well, I don't want to play this. Townstar was an actual game. You log in, you do competitions, you build your town and all that. I was like, oh, so they won me that side because they had a decent playable game.
Yeah.
And then just going through their podcasts and not podcasts, but their AMAs and streams, and then going through what they plan to do, like the vision. I was basically sold the vision, right? I was sold the dream of like playing games, earning money, NFTs as like legendary weapons, trading back and forth, this and that. And then I saw the node and I was like, oh, this looks like an awesome concept. And the Gala, you get Gala token for helping run the ecosystem. So I was like, that's a cool idea. Was looking more into that. I did buy one node. I currently have one founders node, and I just leave that running. But yeah, apart from that, I think the first ever NFT I bought was a Miranda's All Sight Elf. That was the first sale that I participated in, because I was like, nobody's spending thousands and thousands of pounds for these assets. And then I think the second or third elf in the series dropped. And I was like, it got sold out in like 10 seconds. Like, how are people having like $5,000 to drop on an NFT? And then I went to the Explorer and it's like, this guy bought 4. He spent 20 grand on like this NFT that doesn't currently have any value. And it's just like a promise. And I was like, wow, like people must really think this team or this group is going to do something, right? So then like I got into the FOMO or like the hype of like, oh, if everybody's believing, maybe they're onto something and I should like believe as well. Over the couple like last 2 years, because I was officially like properly in crypto 2021, 2023 now. I've learned quite a lot along the journey. So hopefully in the future, like I have a set plan and I stick to that set plan, and I don't FOMO in or like trade or buy things on human emotion.
Yeah. Well, that's probably the best way to go, man, because like I got in at like December 2019 and then I bought my node in January 2020. So I was trying to actually buy it over Christmas, and back in the day they used to have like credit card availability to be able to buy a node. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to go that way. And so I went that way. It wouldn't work at all. It was just a complete dud. Like it just kept fucking up. Money's in there, not coming out. So I'm like, well, what's the other option? So I just ended up buying some Ethereum, and then I bought it that way. I think I paid around 1,300 USD for a node, but I only bought the one because like back when I bought it, it was like you're getting I think my first distro when I looked at it the other day was 6,400 Gala for the day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then that only lasted one day. And then it was like the next distro was like 5,800. And I'm like, fucking hell, they're just flying off the shelves, you know? And then I think I had like, I don't know how much Gala, but it was worth like $7,000 or something. and the
Mhm.
nodes were around 6.5. And I was like, oh, I'm going to buy another node. Like, and I'm talking to the wife about it. I'm like, what do you reckon? She's like, I don't know. You just do what you think's right. And then I'm like, no, I'm not going to buy the node. It's going to keep pumping. I'll keep the token. Kept the token, ended up dumping, and then the nodes just kept going and going. So I never got that second node.
Yeah,
And
the same thing. Me is like, oh, Gala's gonna go to the moon. You know, like watching all the influencers and crypto people that says like 10x, 20x, 30x. Like I was still new 2021, so I was like, oh, this is gonna go to like $1 or like $2. So I kept the token, rid it to like the 80 cents or 70 cents that it was, rid it all the way down back to what is it, 0.02, like 2 cents, I think, right now. Yeah, so
yeah,
I've hold. I haven't sold. I just the gala that I got from the nodes. I just used to get NFTs because like, oh, I'm gonna play this game. I'm gonna play this game, and like I spread myself too thin, and I noticed that like mid 2021, I was like, I'm not gonna have time to play all these games. Like I'm interested in like testing them, like making videos on them, doing the content side for them. But my main games, I need to like get rid of all this like random NFTs that I have. Majority of them are like 80-90% down anyway, so they have no value. But the ones that I did have that I could sell to move into, like, for example, The Walking Dead, Miranda's, those are going to be my main two games because my genre is MMORPG, and those are the two MMORPGs that I'm planning to play. So I
yeah,
was like selling all this like Echoes of Empire stuff, then like Vox and like Spider Tanks, just like selling, making like 20, $30, $50, whatever I could get, and then buying like exemplars and like heroes and all of that.
yeah. Well, it's one of those things, man. Like back, like because you got in fairly early as well. It was like, do you keep the token? Do you buy the NFTs? Like, I was paying like 30,000 gala for a homestead, like not for a homestead, sorry, for a hitching post. I think the
Yeah.
homestead was like $500, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to go like you know, the the high rarity stuff. I'm not going to go the legendaries or the ancients. I'm going to be like the slumlords of the games. So I ended up just acquiring like heaps and heaps of stuff like rare and under. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Which was probably a mistake because like once you're seeing spider tanks coming out and you're looking at the ancients for victory points and how much you distro you're getting, like
Yep.
there's really no point in having a common unless if it's like level 30.
Well, Gala did it a different way, right? So if you looked at like Sandbox and Splinter Land, like all the other games at the time, the strategy was to buy as much land or as much many like NFTs or whatever you could get at the time because it would give you more rewards because you could rent it out or you have like a giant logo of your thing. And most people came from that mentality. So it's like, oh, Gala, they have land. I need to buy like 20, 30 land because then it would be roughly the same as like all these other ecosystems. But Gala did it, the 180 was like, you only need one NFT, but that NFT should be like the highest rarity you can obtain because they went a rarity route, right? The higher the rarity, the more rewards you have potential to earn.
Yeah. Actually, I think I fucked up the timeline because I think it was actually 2020 December that I got in, and then it was 2021 January that I bought the node. Because I'm
I
thinking back,
bought,
but yeah, because
yeah,
how much did you pay for yours?
I think I paid 14,000, $15,000,
Hmm.
2021, like peak. It was June or July when it just hit the first like 60,000 and then it started coming down to 30. Like during that process is when I like discovered Gala and like looked into the ecosystem. So when I bought my node and when I bought my first NFT, which was the Miranda's, I was like, oh,
Yeah, because the only reason I'm thinking that is because it was roughly December 2020 where China was like spraying down all the buildings and stuff because of COVID.
yep.
So, and I remember at the time, I'm like, oh, this node might be all right because if I can't work or something and this stuff just goes
It's just
like
gonna
AWOL, like I can just chill out at home and live off my node. So,
that
apologies.
was the dream, right? That was the plan.
Apologies for wrecking the timeline for anyone that's listening anyway, but I was thinking about it and it has been corrected. So, um, like as far as Galaman, like out of all the games, like in my opinion, I'll just say what I think. I think like, and I've said it before on previous podcasts that every game has a life cycle. Like if
Mhm.
like FPSs stuff like that, they usually like 12 months. Like if you look at the biggest ones like Call of Duty, it's like every year there's a new version. You do have like the games like Fortnite that are battle royales, and if you make a really good one, well, that can last for who knows how long, as you're updating it, you know. And it's like
Yep.
with MOBAs like League of Legends, Dota, all the rest of it, they're still going now. They've still got huge communities. Like they're not as big as they used to be. But if you look at the biggest one out of all, was like World of Warcraft and StarCraft too. That like the StarCraft franchise, Blizzard, they done really well with their game making. And like when I'm purchasing games or when I'm trying to get into them, like I like that I can't remember what the game's called now. It's like that cartoony shooter that they have on Gala, the one that they
That's
got a
Superior.
lawsuit with. Yeah, Superior, that's the one. Like I really like that game, but
I
when I'm
love that game.
yeah, but when I'm playing it, I'm like, they're gonna have to keep making maps. They're gonna have to make bosses. Like the continuation's got to just keep flowing, or it's essentially the game's gonna die.
But it's a live game in development, so you have to keep adding content because you get access to the game when you purchase an NFT, and then they have to keep pumping out content, features, quality of life changes to make people continue to be interested in that game. Like
Mhm.
right now, I'm really not happy with how the situation with Superior turned out because I say that all the time. That Superior is one of the top games in Gala. Like it's got a good core loop system. It's got good. It had a good team. They
Mhm.
did updates every couple of weeks. They interact with the community. They made sure that if there was bugs, they like log it and then they try and get to the issue with every other update. And it was just the overall at the time, like even the last couple of years, is still one of the best games out on Gala's platform right now.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that's little bit disheartening as well. It's because like we don't really have anyone from Superior that's like talking in the community, as far as I can tell. And it's like we don't really know what's going on as purchasers of the product. Like, is this going to be something that Gala's going to take over? Is it going to be something that, you know, that's just going to essentially like have no commitment to Gala, and then our NFTs aren't worth anything? Like, do you know much about that at all? Or
So, Superior's team Drifter, Drifter Entertainment, have their own Discord, and if you join that Discord, I believe like a couple of the members are still there, and sometimes they go back and forth and answer questions. So you can join that, and then you could ask the current members that are still there information. Let me just quickly go over and see what the last time. If you go to discussion, so one thing I have noticed in the Discord is they had two categories, which was Superior Vengeance, which was the Web 2, like the Steam game side, and Superior, which was the Web3 side, which was linked to Gala. In their Discord, they've got rid of the Web3 side and they've only kept like Superior Vengeance, which is the Steam side. So I didn't like that. That was before they announced the lawsuit. So I was like, there's definitely something going on because it's been like months and there's no update. They always like talk that there's going to be a patch or there's this or that within the next couple of weeks. They went like 2-3 months like dry, and I was like, oh no, this is like Legendary Born or Fortitude or like Legacy. Like they go disappear for 6 months and then something's gonna happen. And then the news came out that there was a lawsuit and like they didn't hold up a contract or Gala didn't hold whatever sides like in the right or wrong. We'll see how it goes. But for me, I think it's a win if they hire the devs to continue building the game or if Gala takes over. That's the win. The loss is if they say no and the NFTs go to zero. But what happened with Legendary Board? I have a high like hope, you could say, that Gala will take it over or that they will hire a developer to finish the game.
well,
Because that is my favorite game currently on the Gala platform.
yeah. Well, with like back when I got into Gala, Townstar was being developed by McCarthy. So
Yeah.
like that was the best version in my opinion of Townstar. That's when I like at the time it was the only game available, and then it was like talk of Miranda's. And like I actually really enjoyed playing Townstar. Like I even made a couple of videos like teaching people how to play and stuff like that. Like not through like video of the game, but just my voiceover sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like that Townstar used to get a lot of traction back then for like even unknown YouTubers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Because it was an actual game in the Web3 gaming space that wasn't like a DeFi game, like GameFi, I think they call it now. It wasn't a GameFi game, it was an actual game that you would play. I remember when I first played Townstar, I had to start my town like 3-4 times, just wrapping my head around the process of gasoline, like managing resources and how to get like self-sufficient so I can actually participate in the competitions. It was like I like those type of games where like it forces you to think, and like it's a design thing, it's a simulation thing. Like you got to build your town. Like if you
Mhm.
have NFTs now, you can like think of combos with those NFTs. I really enjoy that side, but I don't play it as much now. The only thing I do with Common Ground World, is log into the Common Ground World thing and participate in the new game mode. Like every couple of hours, just log in, sell my stuff, and then like log off,
Yeah,
because it's a good side game, or like a AFK game. Like I have two categories. I have like a main game and then like an AFK game. So like right now, The Walking Dead Empires is my main game. Like my main focus is on that. But on the side, I've got like a emulator, Android emulator, and I'm playing Champions Arena, because I've got
yeah.
to the point in Champions Arena. I just have to click a few times every couple of minutes, and I can do like Arena or like Mayhem, and I can progress that way. So I like they have a good like balance of like, oh, there's like AFK games, there's actual main games, there's like browser games that you can leave running on the side. And I think that's good because you can play it 2, 3 games in one go, or it's just like I'm too much of a game, like I need 3 games going to actually feel like I'm progressing type thing.
So going back to the original question, what are you most bullish on? Like if you only had to pick one game out of the whole Gala ecosystem,
Ooh.
which one would you choose?
Well, they say there's 50 games in development, or at least 35 plus. So it could be one of those games, but it has to be Mirandus, right? Mirandus is the dream of Gala. It's going to be the make or break of Gala. If Mirandus doesn't live up to the hype, or like McCarthy's vision, and Gala try to interfere too much, like just let McCarthy build whatever they're saying in Discord, like the AMAs. Everybody is still believing like this is the game. This is going to be the MMORPG of Web3 that will just like snowball Gala and gaming into like the name, like, oh, Gala Miranda's type thing. And with all the AMAs and the information, I do like it. There's some changes that have happened that are like kind of, oh, I don't know if that's the right way to do it. But so far, so good, right? Miranda's is the game that I'm most excited for. Walking Dead Empires is the game that I'm currently the most excited for, because I've been playtesting that game. It's been out for a couple of weeks now. I sent like a good 2, 3 pages of feedback to Doug
Mhm.
so he can forward it to the team. And like since I've played Albion Online, which was a 2.5D top-down isometric game, Walking Dead is also a top-down 2.5D MMORPG. Albion Online was MMORPG. So I've used all my like 5, 6 years knowledge of playing Albion Online and said this game is pretty much similar to this. This is all the things that you could just take, because Albion Online have done all the battle testing for you over the last 6 years. Just
Mhm.
take the stuff that works, add it to your game, and it will make your game go from good to epic. And then if you continue to like Diablo, Albion Online, Path of Exile, all of these top-down isometric games, just see what works for them. If it fits in your game, just copy or borrow the feature, right? And then you just make your game into like a legendary game. Plus, they've got the partnership with AMC, which I'm excited for, because everybody loves Walking Dead, and there's like certain characters that people just like. I need to play Daryl. I need to play Michonne. Like I love Rick. So there's like a good fan base and a good market, you could say there. Because if AMC just do like a 30-second ad as like Walking Dead Empire is now launched, it could bring a lot of traction into the gaming side. Only downside is it's Web3, and like you can play for free, but still like getting into Web3 gaming is still not as easy to onboard like normal Web2 gamers.
Yeah. Well, that actually answers one of my other questions, because what I was going to say is like, there's a lot of people that are playing The Walking Dead and there's a fair bit of hype in the community. And then for me, being someone that's not a Walking Dead fan, and as far as I can tell, they haven't come out with a new series, or they haven't come out with a new season, because it's finished now, isn't it? But for
Yeah.
me, I'm thinking as a buyer, I'm like, well, does anyone really give a shit about Walking Dead? Like, how like there's always like fads between, it goes from like zombies to vampires, and then it's like something else. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't think there is that at the moment. So I'm like, back in the day, like Supernatural TV show, Buffy, all the rest of it. Then you had the Colette's Way or whatever it was called, with the zombie and Drew Barrymore. I can't remember the exact word what it was.
I remember Buffy. I don't remember the other one. But the gaming side was Resident Evil. That had zombies, and then Left 4 Dead 2 zombies, Call of Duty zombie. Zombies are a thing that everybody likes to play and like mass murder, you could say. It's like, I need to kill the zombies. It's like a good game mode because it relieves quite a lot of stress.
Yeah. Well, I always I wondered when they come out with that, like, because it is like in a way a bit like it's a gimmick because it's based off a TV show, you know. And I wondered to myself, like, would it be better to make a good zombie game without the backing of The Walking
The
Dead?
branding. Yeah.
But yeah, you've got that branding from The Walking Dead, you know. And if
Yep.
they do come out of another series, and then you could actually buy those NFT characters, so you could play the old ones and the new ones, like that would be the most bullish scenario.
But I think they have plans to sell another hero card pack, but they're not doing anything till the launch of the game, which was a good for me because I think I've heard rumors that Gala said, "Oh, do you want to do another sale?" And they were like, "No, we're good until the game launches." So that to me gives me more faith in the team that they're not here just for the money. They're actually trying to make the game as good as it can be. The one thing I didn't like with the previous playtest was they said that you'd keep your masteries and scrap, and then as soon as the playtest went live, they did a live stream of like I think it was the Gala community mods or like the red names playing, and then in that they revealed that you won't be keeping scrap and masteries. Like, oh, you guys, you can't do this. I took like 3 days off work. I planned like the whole 5 day weekend thing because this was going to be like the soft launch. So I didn't really
Mhm.
like that, but I still see the side was like if there's an infinite scrap glitch or if the masteries don't work the way they are, you can't exactly tell the community you're going to keep them, right? I was happy that they said the levels will stay. So it feels like you're actually progressing now, like your MMO journey has started. You're no longer like this small little character like Villager A. You're working your way up to be like an adventurer. It's like when the Walking Dead show started. Like everybody's just trying to survive. They're like a nobody. They have no skills. And then like, as you progress through the store, you start getting like character development. It's like you're starting your process of your like NFT if you have one. He's starting that development because I managed to get an ancient Daryl, so I'm like starting his journey with the guild members I'm playing with. I'm currently playing with Gem and Mum.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched some of the Gala Gazette, which is like a I think Forged in Crypto. He owns the
Yeah,
show, and
fortunate.
I think one of them's in I can't remember what his name is, Family Man, I believe, and he's in the Math Guild.
Yeah,
So
Matt Timbo Slice, the Gala Collective, like Forged in Timbo. Yeah.
yeah, and like he talks about Gem because apparently they've like built their defensive walls and all the rest of the stuff, and they've got the highest defenses. And then like Math, they're more into this thing, and it's like it's interesting to listen to because like the dynamic and the competitiveness has already kicked in, and you've already got people that are specializing in one thing, and then you know this other guild's like focused on this. So I like that sort of stuff because it sort of gives me the vibes of like World of Warcraft, how it used to be back in the vanilla days. And
Exactly.
you know, that was the excitement time, you know. It's like with Spider Tanks, man. Like I actually enjoyed it better when there was no earnings. Because for me the game was solid
Mhm.
and like I really enjoyed it in the betas without earnings. And then when the earnings come in, it was sort of like it's like one of those things where you really like look forward to meeting someone and then you actually meet them and you're like, ah, fucking, I hate this person. You know what I mean? Like that's what it was
Yes.
like for the economy. So for me, it sort of just wrecked it because it didn't make sense.
I think for like The Walking Dead, as you mentioned, like all these people come together. It's the first game where like all these Discord guilds for the last 2 years, they've been Discord guilds, right? Because Spider Tanks is like three people could play Legacy, single player, Townstar, single player. Um, what was the other one? Superior, you could play with three people, but there was
Mhm.
never a game with the actual whole like Discord guild could jump in and play together and grow as a community. And since The Walking Dead came out, because it's an MMORPG, and it's like a one world type thing, like everybody from the guild, like 50, 20, even if it's like a small 10-man guild or 100-man guild, they're all getting together, they're going in Discord, and they're actually gaming together. Like people from around the world, like what MMOs are, right? They just come together, different time zones, different languages, different ethnicities. And like before, you used to talk through text, but now you're in voice chat, you're doing like raids together, you're leveling bases, you're like giving resources, like people you didn't even know like a couple of days ago is like, yo, smiling, like, do you need like wood? I've got like hardwood. Like, okay, let's upgrade your base. And you're building that community and that bond. And that's what's a good thing right now for The Walking Dead because it's bringing everybody together, right? and people are actually starting to form connections. And as you said, like guilds are specializing in certain things. Because when it's the solo XP or Walker event, Gem is like everybody, they send a ping like, yo, it's the XP or Walker event. Everybody get on. We just need to kill as many Walkers as possible. And we try and rank one in that event at every time that event is on. I think we've ranked one, I think maybe only once we haven't ranked one or twice. But for the first 3-4 days, we were ranked one, and that was our goal. And then the map, they did it a different way because we did it. Everybody was upgrading their own bases, and if you needed help, like you'd go join the community, upgrade, and then go back to doing your own thing. But the way I saw Map do it is they pulled all their resources to one base and they built that up really, really fast and got it to level 60. I think they were one of the first people to get a base to level 60. So they did it in like an organized, like hive, like mine type of thing. Because I think they only have one guild, which is like 25 people, and Gem had like 4 guilds, like right off the bat, because they were gonna go hard in The Walking Dead, and it's one of the main games that they plan to play.
Well, I think
So,
it's
yeah.
like one of those bragging right things, you know, like who can get the base to level 60. That's what everyone talks about, you
Yep.
know. So, like that, like I reckon that's pretty cool. Like I used to like that sort of stuff in like World of Warcraft, like the first to get a mount or get all the mats to be able to make something. You know what I mean? And then it was
The
just like the
first in
big
the
bull rush.
server for a gamer is like god tier dopamine. It's like I am number one. I'm the first to get. Like gamers love bragging rights, right? It's just in nature. It's like I'm the only gamer with this mount, or I'm the only gamer with this achievement, or like I'm in the top 1% because I have this item. It's
Yeah.
it's a gamer mentality type thing, and that's
Well,
why I think Miranda's or like any MMORPG for that matter, because I see MMORPGs and Web3 go hand in hand. It makes complete sense. Some of the other genres, not so much, and everybody's still in the process of figuring out how to do like economies, how to do the tokens, the NFTs. But I think we're still in like the testing phase. Give it 2 more years, and you actually start to see like games that have economies that actually work.
yeah. So I'll tell you something that frustrates me with the community. So, like, you got all these games. Like this really bothered me for Champions Arena because, like, I actually really like the game. And then I'm looking at OpenSea and I'm looking at the characters, and I'm like, you guys are selling these things for less than the minting cost of what it costs to buy one of the chests. Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, it's like, oh, here we go. We're just going to have 50% off sale, which is straight to your bottom line. And I'm like, I've got my characters, and I'm like, well, I'm just not selling them just as a matter of like principle. I'm not selling it less than what I paid for a chest. You know what I mean? And I was lucky to get like one of the Duraxes, so I was pretty happy with that. And at one point, they were worth like an eighth, but I like playing it. So,
Yeah,
like, I'm not giving up my Durax. Durax would just like hammer everyone at the time.
yeah. I
And
love Jurex's passive skill. It's just like free damage on top of free damage.
yeah, it's like kill all my other people. That's cool. Because it just puts him in berserker mode. You know what I mean? So, so we've got Zora on the chat now. How you going, Mrs. GTG as well?
Yo, Zoro, how's it going?
He said, now this show turned into an all-stars show from Web3 Gaming. Nice. All support. Hello, gentlemen. How you going, Zoro?
Hello, hello. So this I like Champions Arena and I don't like Champions Arena. So the things that I do like about Champions Arena, I like that it's a Web2 game. You can play it as a Web2 game. You don't have to interact with the blockchain or NFT side if you don't want to. If you do, then you have access to all that technology and that side of the gameplay, and that's how you start earning. I like the process that they did that. You can play the game normally, and when you want to like get interested in that side, you can get interested in that side. The things that I don't like about Champions Arena is that the minting cost for champions, it gradually increased per the rarity, right? So like commons is like 2 minting scrolls, uncommons are like 4, then it's like 8, 11, 20 something. I think it should just be 1 minting scroll to mint that character, but they wanted to keep the value of the NFTs. I see it both ways, but I don't think that's how you should do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. I don't like that they restrict the market. So there's like paid gems and free gems. I hate that mechanic. I think it just should be gems. And I get it. You're scared. And like now that it's Web3, it's actual real life money involved. But people have been doing that on the black market all the time. So I keep saying this. It's just build a Web2 game and add the technology on the side. Stop
Hmm.
trying to reinvent the wheel, because gamers already been testing it and like giving you a blueprint for the last 20 years, right? Gaming's developed a crazy amount. There's like set blueprints that work. The only side that you need to worry about is how to make it from the economy to Web3. Because it, like in Albion Online, I played it for 5 years. I had a good mount skin collection. I had rare mounts. I had rare skins. I had all of this stuff that if I could sell on the black market, it would give me like 4 or 5 grand, which is a huge amount that I could put into other NFTs for like Gala or like Big Time or like any of these other Web3 games. And but if I did that in Web2, my account would be banned, it would permanently be suspended, and I would lose like that 5 years of progress. You need to make it so I could just play the game and not lose that 5 years of progress. And stop being greedy is another thing that I think all Web3 companies are real greedy, man. Like
Oh
they
yeah.
build the games, but they put like all these money sinks into it that make you want to progress. Like Champions Arena, once you hit a bottleneck, it's you have to. You don't have to, but it's like you drop $50, you'll progress. And if you don't drop $50, it'll take you a good couple of weeks before you pass your bottleneck. And the recent Nexus drop with Champions Arena, I hate that mechanic. It's like if you bought a Nexus, you're expecting it to be like Spider Tanks' capsules, right? Where you put your NFT in, it gets rented for a day, people can use it, and you like end of 24-hour period, you get it back, you get your victory points, you get your like lapis, you get all of this. But the way they did it is like, oh, you can rent one champion for 10 minutes or one battle, and then you go on an 8-hour cooldown. And then if
Hmm.
you want to reduce that cooldown, you can just pay, give us like 800 gems for like 8-hour cooldown, or give us like 200 gems for a 2-hour cooldown. And I was like, you guys are mental. Like, if I owned a Nexus, I would be fuming when that
Well, I own two, so
update comes out.
I am fuming, but
Oh,
but I haven't even activated them because like what I do is I just see like is it worth my time? You know,
mm,
so I'm looking in like the discords and I don't really talk in there because I'll probably get banned. Let's be honest, but it's like I'm reading what other people are saying. Like, this is bullshit. And then yesterday I was actually watching the patio show, and yourself ended up jumping in there, and
yep. I
you
jump in
pretty much
halfway through.
yeah, because I think it was Crypto View, Zorro, and then it was 8-bit Tendies, and then you jumped in, and then you were actually talking about this exact thing right now, the Champions Arena, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't know about the time. Like you can
Yeah.
only have it for 10 minutes or whatever it was, and I was
You
like,
also
that's
can't use it in campaign or tower. You can only use it in arena, so it's even further restricted. And I'm like, you guys are like, I don't know how you're developing this game. You had such a good base game. Like all these Web3 side features that you're putting in is just completely destroying your game. Like build it as a Web2 game and just add the features. Like if it doesn't work, I get it. It's still in trial phase. But as a gamer, the way that they set it up just makes no sense to me. Like, how did you get to this conclusion of what like the Medium article said, and like this is the final product? I'm like, do you not think this through? Is there not a guy that QA tests this idea that just like get a guy who's an actual gamer to like, yeah, we have this idea, and I don't think it would pass like the first sentence, like 8-hour time or cooldown 300 gems. I get it, you have to make money, but this is not the way to do it.
hmm Well, a plug for the patio show anyway. It's a really, really good show. I enjoy it a
Shout
lot.
out to Zoro, Crypto View, Tendies.
Yeah. So are they the three that actually run it? Because you've also got Lava as well. So
Lava jumps in from time to time. I've seen him once or twice because I only recently started to join their podcast or their show.
yep.
And it's really fun just talking back and forth between the different community members. Zoro's the meme guy. Crypto View is all about, his XRP hat and his
Yeah.
XRP
And
mug.
his charts and all the rest of the stuff.
Yep. And then Tendy's got the music side covered, and I came in and was like, oh, I'll get the gaming side covered. So it's a nice balance, just going back and forth, and different opinions, different viewpoints, and it's just generally a good vibe, and I enjoy it.
Yeah. I like 8-bit Tendies a lot. I reckon he's like a pretty knowledgeable dude. He's like
Yep.
he's got a good voice too to listen to, like yourself. Like they
His
all do.
music side's good.
Like Zorro is one of my favorite people to listen to because he's just so relaxed, and his
Yep.
accent, I really like it.
He's always got
So
a smile on his face too whenever he's getting ready to say something. He's like, eh.
I want to see his eyes though, man. So I want to know if there's something going on there. So it's just one of those
Yeah.
things. You watch people for long enough, and he's always got the glasses on like a
The
prop.
glasses, the red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not red. The blue gala glasses. And he's
Yeah.
always got like RBG lights and everything. It's just like, the memes are so. His memes in Gala Gold are good too.
Yeah, they are. I like how he quotes himself too, man. He'll like write something that's really smart, and then he'll be like Zara Geller at the bottom. So that
Yep.
always gives me a smile. But like going back into what you do, man. Like, so I'm guessing that Smiling Monster, that was a gamer name, and then you've just carried that on, or was that something that you come up with to make content?
So my first original name was Blood Pain, and I had that when I was a kid through like my teenage years and like through like old school RuneScape years. I think till I was like 16, up to 16. And that was from Final Fantasy VIII. They had a character in Final Fantasy VIII, and his special was called Blood Pain. It's basically he got two knives and he just slashed the living hell out of the opponent. I was like, oh, this looks so cool. I'm gonna steal that name as my name. And nobody took that name. Like nobody's ever. I haven't had to compete with Blood Pain. Maybe one or two other games where people just like the sound of the name Blood Pain. But that was my name. And then I was watching an anime, several animes. They had like Japanese cartoons. Like if you watch the real gruesome ones, they have characters that do this smile, like this monstrous smile, and I really, really liked that concept. And there was one anime that explained it. It's like people get scared when you just smile at them for no reason. Like if they're being mean to you and you just have a smiling face, it just freaks them out even more. If you like, instead of retaliating, if you just sit there quietly and smile, it had a better quote. I'm not explaining it to do it justice, but I was like, oh, the concept of like smiling monster is something that I need to take. And ever since, I think I've had it at least 12 years now. My name's been Smiling Monster.
Yeah, that's cool,
And like,
man. I like the name. It's catchy too, you know.
yeah, it's got a ring to it. But I got rid of, if you notice, there's no G in the middle because everybody will take Smiling Monster. So I got rid of G and named it Smiling Monster because nobody has it without the G. And I was like, I have this name for the last 12 years.
Oh, that's good that you locked it in. It's hard, like when you're actually trying to come out with a name for a content creator, because if you're trying to go off like a gamer tag, it's likely already someone's nicked it off you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, you know, like when you do it, you've got to not tell anyone, and then you got to like set everything up. And there's usually always like one, like it might be like Facebook or X or something. It's like, oh fuck, someone's already got that one. So
Yep. It's like on X, I don't have the Smiling Monster. I have Smiling Monster, but at the end it's STR because someone has the ER. And that's because Twitter was out for ages and I didn't make an account. But when I started doing content properly, it was like, oh, I need to get on social media. And like most people use Twitter as a form of information or networking. So I had to set one up. And then when I did it, it was like, your name is taken. I was like, no. But I researched it. The last post for that guy is 2013. He says in his message, oh, this is the last post. This is the number that I'm getting rid of the sim. Sayonara. And I was like, give me the name. It's been 10 years. Just give me the ER at the end. But Twitter's not releasing the handle. So yeah, I got to wait for it to come out. But I'm happy with the shorter version too. Because whenever I make alts or like secondary characters in games, I just get rid of the E and then it just looks similar. Smiling Monster, Smiling Monster.
Yeah.
And like that's my second character.
People aren't really like hyper focused like reading it anyway. But going to the smiling thing, man, how you're saying with anime, how people think it's creepy and stuff. I was talking to a mate that went over to Russia, and and he was saying like you don't smile there. So if you're walking down the street, like in Australia, like you'll smile at, well, not really smile, but you'll say, how you going, mate, or something like that. When you'll nod at people or whatever. That's like normal.
I do the nod. I do that.
Yeah. And like in Russia, apparently, if you just look at someone and smile, they
the wrong way. Yep.
Yeah, they don't like it at all, and they'll just like belt you up. Yep.
So, they'll take you to the alley. He was like, "Follow me, my friend," and then just
yeah. So it's just weird, like how things are culturally, man, around the world.
If you do that around here as well, if you go to like the wrong part of the neighborhood and you just smile to somebody, it's like, "What do you want? Like, are you starting something?" He's like, "No, I'm just being nice." And like, it starts a whole different type of conversation. But like, it proves the theory. If you just smile at people, they get really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, I got lucky in life, man, because I'm a fairly big dude. So, like, if I walk around, people just sort of don't want to look at me, which is good.
Same.
But at the same time, it's a lonely life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I feel you, bro. I'm 6'3", I think. And then when I was young, I used to have I'm into heavy metal, right? I like metal music, rock music, all of that. So I used to have like the full on like heavy metal jackets and shirts of bands. And they have like flaming skulls and like blood and gore everywhere. I used to have a leather jacket with like a really big band, like a good band that I liked at the times on the back. And it was just like a flaming skull or like a man on fire type thing. And I had a hat, so like a beanie hat. So all you could see was like this. I'd have this up like that and my headphones, and I'd just walk down the street. People move out the way like pretty fast. People with dogs, they just like, yeah, I have a dog, so I can walk past him. But most people just made ways, and I was like, this is cool, but I don't think I should be doing it this way. Yeah, but I get the feeling of like being a big dude and people just like moving out the way. Like height and like my shoulders are wide. Like I've got wide shoulders, so whenever I buy shirts, I have to buy like one size up and like custom the sleeves. Or whenever I buy trousers, I need to buy the ones with like the extra width at the bottom because my body proportions are different to like the normal standard size that they build. But yeah, I get what you mean by being a big dude and people moving out the way.
Yeah, well, like you might be one of the only people in the Gala community that might be able to actually look at Bitbender at normal height.
Yeah,
Because
yep.
apparently
I
he's
think
like a huge dude.
Yeah, I think he might be a little bit taller than me because I met Bitbender when he went to London at the Secret Shack. I think that's what they're calling it now. So I was on my way home, saw the text message, got home, traveled 2 hours to get to this location. I was one of the last Gala Gold members to arrive. And it was just a fun like vibe, man. It was like 2021 or was it early 2022? And it was just like Gala community members sitting there having fun, listening to Bitbender talk. And it was just like, when he goes to other events, you go for dinner and like that, it's just a generally good vibe. And I met two of my, well, you could say best friends now in like Web3 gaming at the Secret Shack. I met Chaos, who I run with all the time, and he's like the number one superior Murmur player. And then
Mhm.
I've met Shadow Knight, who is really passionate. Well, both Chaos and Shadow Knight are really passionate about Legendary Born. And Shadow Knight does stream Champions Arena as well. And those two dudes are like, if I need to do anything, like those are the people in Web3 that are cool. Like, yo, let's jump on Walking Dead, or yo, let's do this. Like, if I'm asking for information, like I've met those two at the Gala Gold London meetup, and I was like, I'm glad I came like to this event because like you've opened up connections and communications to two awesome people.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, going back to the gaming side, when we were talking about, some of the stuff that they do and all the rest of it, we didn't really get into that. And like with Miranda's, you used to have the stables, and then for some reason they come out with dedicated horses, NFTs that you could buy. And it's just like, what are you doing here? But as much as like Gala does things that does, tend to rub people the wrong way, the real strength in Gala, which I think they need to focus more on, is actually the community.
Yep.
Because we talk to each other every day, all the rest of it. Like I was thinking last night, I'm like, what's the point of even having a Gala like AMA? Because from one week to the next, or in a month's time, it could completely backflip on what they're going to do. You know what I mean? Like I used to watch all the AMAs of the founders node's the only node. Gala's like the native token. That's the only one that it's going to be. And that's not going to change. And then it went from that to now every game has a node, every game has a token, And for me, man, like the other thing that they done, which I think wasn't right either, was just the fact of focusing on the gamers, man, because like at the end of the day, it's NFTs and it's crypto. So for myself, like I didn't buy, 300 NFTs because I want to use every single one of them. I brought 300 NFTs because I was hoping to use one and then rent out all the rest that I had. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, like, if you want big money investors, and they would have kept getting money out of me too, man, if they had have just stayed with the original plan. Like, I'd probably be sitting on 1,000 NFTs right now if they had to just stick with what they were originally going to do. But like, what's the actual budget of a generalized gamer? Someone that's like grinding it out at work, or they're working in fast food or whatever, they might only have a couple $100 to themselves after a week, and that's with living with mum and dad and all the rest of it. And then you've got someone like me and other people like Forged and like a lot in the community that might have businesses, companies, all the rest of it. And we're looking at this company Gala and we're thinking, like these people are really good. The idea is really good. We're going to invest 50 to 100,000, So like that's the one thing I didn't like too much was the whole don't talk like return on investment and all that sort of stuff, because this is crypto. So
I get it, is they don't want to be targeted by the SEC, but you're in crypto and it's a Web3 game. Also, hi Satoshi. I
how you going,
caught your live
Satoshi?
stream yesterday. Yeah, but I get that side, and I really do wish they just focus on gaming. Like, I don't really get the music side or the film side. I think instead of hiring like those type of developers, they should have just bought like more gaming developers to work on gaming side. Because I'm a gamer, so I want them to focus on gaming. But watching all like the live streams like yesterday, the podcast, all of that, I get what they're trying to do. They want to be like the entertainment hub of Web3. So they're pushing everything. I would personally like it if they're just focused on gaming, because that's what I'm interested in. But then you have people on the music side that are just in Gala for the music side, right? And then you've got people in Gala like just for the film side, because that's all they care about. So every like category has its own niche and its own like group, and they're starting to grow, which I understand. But I'm a gamer, so I prefer they focus more on gaming. And it's how Gala got built, right? Gala was like Gala Games. It's like you're in Web3 gaming, like they promised it's going to be like the Steam of Web3. It's going to have all these awesome games. It's going to get all these like AAA developers. They're going to build all this awesome stuff. You can like rent out your NFTs. You can play with your NFTs. You can send them to your friend. Like Axie Infinity, right? It was a really good thing in like third world countries. Like I'm Indian, and if I could send, for example, Axie team back to India and get them to play when it was peak, that would pay their daily wages. That would give them enough to buy like food, like fuel. Like that's the really cool side. Like I don't have to be playing the game. I could just buy the asset and then give it on rent to somebody else, and they could earn a living for using that asset. That's what I really do like about the Web3 side and crypto side. But I think there hasn't been an economy model that's been figured out to work long term. I think everybody's been hypnotized by Axie's model. Is like you play daily, you get a bunch of tokens, you sell the bunch of tokens, you make money, use that money to buy real life things. I don't like that model. I think 90% of the Web3 games don't actually need tokens. They could just have like a database currency, like Champions Arena does. You just have database tokens. And then when you want to turn it into an NFT or crypto, you have the option to turn it into that if you want to trade or sell or mint. Like, tokens don't make sense to me in like 80% of the game. NFTs make sense in certain genres. For example, MMORPGs is like the golden combo of like crypto, Web3, and gaming all in one. Then, for example, like League of Legends type games, like Battle Royale type games, they make sense with skins, not with tokens. So you play the game, you get like this essence or currency, use that currency to buy the skin, and that skin can turn into an NFT if you want to sell it to make money. I think they still need to figure out a good model to make it work for both like the people who buy the NFTs, people who use the NFTs, people who are like renting playing the game, people who are just playing the game to have fun. There needs to be a balance, and I think they're testing it with each game that comes out. Like Spider Tanks, they tested Honor. That was a disastrous thing in my opinion. I hate the word honor. It should be called like Gala Glory. Like, because glory sounds way better than honor. Because if you're not honorable, you're what? You're dishonorable. And nobody wants like that on their consciousness. Like, even if you don't say it, you think it in the back of your head is like, oh, if I cash out or if I sell my silk, like my honor's gonna drop to zero. That basically means I'm dishonorable, right? I'm not honoring like my fellow gamers or whatever. It's like, no, I should be able to freely do whatever I want with whatever I've earned playing that game. Like they've got rid of honor, but then in Champions Arena they added the paid gems and free gems. So you no longer have honor, but if you want to buy stuff from the market, you got to put real life money. And it's like, no, you have it where like gems are gems. And if you get gems from the game, then you can just soul bound those gems and then only your account can use them. But if you've paid for it, you should have gems that are tradable back and forth. Because one type of gameplay that I really enjoy in MMORPGs is merchanting and crafting and flipping, right? I can stand in front of an auction house looking through lists and lists of ingredient, crafting equipment, whatever, and finding a good deal and then flipping it to make profit. Like I enjoy that type of gameplay. So I couldn't do that in Champions Arena. Like I've seen so many good deals that if I didn't have the restriction of pay gems and free gems, I would be able to buy and sell and make like 200-300 gems profit. And I couldn't do that type of playstyle because they've added the restriction in. And then legacy is good, but they're not fixing the bug. Like there's little things in each game that are just piling up. I'm like, come on, guys, just make a game that's functional and that's working properly.
Yeah.
So The Walking Dead currently has a lot of good check marks because the team's responding, they're taking it seriously, they're not doing a bunch of like drops just for the sake of selling things to the community. But with the mystery boxes right now, the legendary heroes and whatever you can get in them is like going for dirt cheap. So if you do plan to play the game, right now is a good entry point if you're interested in like owning an NFT character.
Yeah, I bought a couple of the card packs back in the early day. So I think I've even got some I haven't even opened yet. So who knows what's in them, but I'm probably going to do that at some point.
I don't like that. Like last year, I bought a legendary character for $1,000, and now you can buy them for $150. I'm like, that side I don't like, right? And nobody likes that. You buy something and its value drops like 80%. And like all these mystery box sales, these discount codes, like all of these things, I get it. Loot boxes are a thing in gaming, and it's a bear market. You need to raise money. This is the best way to do it. It just feels wrong inside, if you get what I mean. But
well, it's like,
we'll see what happens next year.
With the games and stuff, and they're like, oh, we've hired economists and all the rest of it. Are you talking like blockchain economists or fiat economists? It's like, if it's a fiat economist, look at the current system.
It's not a gaming economist. I can tell you that.
Is it like the fiat economists? If that's the case, yeah, I get it. Because like, look at what's going on in the world now. It's like completely fucked. So, we need to get the smart blockchain people in, like Charles Hoskinson and stuff. Like, obviously, he runs ADA, but you need someone that's like a mathematician that's also into games.
I think you just need a group of 5 gamers who are actually gamers. They will tell you what systems have worked in other games, what systems don't work in other games, and they'll tell you how to make money. Like, if I released a video today, right, on The Walking Dead Empires, I gave all the bugs that I found in the video, a list of feedback that would make the game awesome, and I also included things in the cash shop for prices that people would actually buy. Like, I've got ideas, like things that you put in cash shops that I know gamers would buy, but I've only put like 5 or 10 of them out in that video. I've got a list of like 20 on the side, but I'm not giving them that information. I could give them that information, but I'm seeing how they react to the current information that I've given them. Like, gamers understand how gamers work, and I get it. It may not be in their business's best interest because they just want to make money, right? But you need to make sure the gamers are happy, because when the gamers are happy, they'll spend money and then you'll make more money. Like, for example, the OpenSea fees are 10%. Put it to 2.5. You'll see a lot more trading. People actually trade assets. I get ETH fees are bad, but now it's on Gala Chain, so there's no fees in P2P, but you can get scammed like that. So, like, stop being greedy. Make it so people can actually do things, right? Can actually move the assets, can actually use the assets, can actually freely do what they've paid for and use that for. Like, I'm really
you gotta think more like a farmer, man. It's just all about milking it, you know what I mean? So it's like with the words and stuff that you were talking about before, as far as honor. It's like the hot topic at the moment's an allowance. Like, no one knew when they come into the Gala community that, Gala was going to be their sugar daddy. So,
I hate the term allowance. I actually hate the term allowance, because even though it's not what it's saying it means, in the back of my head is like, oh, Gala's only allowing me to do this thing. Like, I can only mint this amount. And like, allowances, when you're a kid, is like, oh, your dad gives you $10. This is your $10. That's all you're getting. It's like that type of mentality. It's like, oh, this is your like 1,000 Gala. This is all you can mint before like something bad happens to your account, or you lose credibility score, or whatever they plan to have in place.
Yeah, you're like, getting an allowance, and you're losing honor if you you know what I mean? Like it's deliberate, man. They're not this. Like, if you listen to Eric or Like, I'm not an Eric fan at all, and that's just my opinion. Like, if he ever steps down, I vote for Forged in Crypto for CEO because, and I think that Bitbender should be the CMO. I think he should go back to marketing because, like, he's a really good face for Gala. You know what I mean? So,
I think they have problems with wordings because, like the chicken incident for spider tanks, the current they have wording issues and communication issues. Because
man, if you,
the
but yeah,
recent
but if, sorry, I just want to say this and then you say what you want, right?
Yep.
There is no problem with Bitbender's vocabulary. He's
Oh,
probably got
easy.
the best vocabulary I've seen in any sort of like, just in general. The guy is super intelligent, right? And he knows there should be no communication background because, once again, I've never seen anyone that can communicate at his level. Like, he's,
He if it wasn't for him and Gala, I think half the community would leave. Like Bitbender's the thread that's holding both pieces together, and he's just like, "Ugh," like don't snap. Like I'm here, I'll help the community. Like Bitbender does so much for Gala, and like as you said, he's smart. He knows how to talk. He knows how to do his job, and he's an amazing person. Like to meet in real life. But just get somebody to check over the Medium articles and get somebody to check over what they think it means and what the actual community think it means. Because the Spider Tank's chicken sale, right, is like, oh, this is the only sale you'll never get chickens again. And then they spun it around. It's like, oh, well, we only sold uncommon to ancient chickens. We didn't actually sell the common chicken. So we can sell or give the common chickens. Like, no, the wording says this is the only thing available. This is the time period it's available. These will be never seen again. And it's like, yeah, but we didn't say common would be in that thing. It's like, that's not how it works. The way that everybody interpreted it was this way. And I like when Benefactor came in and shut the whole thing down because before he did that, it was like 2-3 hours back and forth in like Gala's Discord, Spider Tank's Discord. And the community was like, half the community was going crazy because it's a matter of principle, right? Like you said this, stick to it. So that was the Spider Tank side. For the recent Ravager side, I think it was miscommunication because all the NFTs in the Ravagers that are in the NFT boxes are from Gala's 10%. People thought it
I
was
was just
from like
about to
the
talk
whole
about that,
list. Yes.
because
All
like
right.
I'm on X now, and Lasagna ends up saying about it, and he's like, I'm still looking for videos, but it's pretty clear in the text of the Medium article that highlights the initial 24-hour sale. The only way to get one is the 24-hour bundle sale. And then Bitbender said, I talked about this on stream, but yes, when it was said, that was absolutely the only way. However, we have always held back our 10% to do as we will. Today, you can only get them from a secondary market or from friends. It is pretty clear that it's the only way for it. It's not the only way forever. And I read that, and I'm like, I just said, what happened to you, man? It's like that.
I get
That
it.
is
It's his
operating
job
in
to
the grey.
defend Gala, but
Yeah.
come on, man. You know it's not right. You know it's not right. And like, I think there needs to be more communication. Like I said, like that is coming from Gala's 10%. And we know in the article that Gala has the 10%. So they can do whatever they want with that 10%. And it makes sense because they need it for like these bundles or promotions or events. It's when you miscommunicate saying that it people think it's not from your 10%, your share of that 10%. They think it's from like all these NFTs that you minted and you're selling the ones like the extra that is currently on the blockchain. Like they
Well,
don't.
when these new in-game assets coming out, like a percentage is meant to go to node owners as well, isn't it?
Yes, I think they've before it was like a flat percentage, and then they did like a vote where it's like based on how many nodes are online now. Like the more nodes online, the more percentage is distributed. There's like this whole back and forth and like the founders node discussion and all of that. I don't pay a lot of attention to it, but I do like skim over it. Um, After the TC mint, like right now, if you guys don't know, the treasure chest is being minted onto Gala Chain. So all your items that are in the treasure chest, you'll see eventually go over to Gala Chain. That'll take maybe a couple of weeks. So you don't have to do nothing. They automatically do it for you. You don't have to pay nothing. They're doing it for you. It's free. Once that's over, nodes are going to be turned into NFTs, I believe. And then the founders, like the backlog of the founders node drops is going to happen. So what I would suggest, I can't say recommend, not financial advice, like the whole disclaimer, but keep when they go into NFTs, keep your nodes, get the drops of what is rightfully yours, and then if you think about selling, then you can sell. but just wait for that distro because that day is going to be glorious for whoever owns nodes. Like Forging Crypto and like Don't Flex, like all of these other people that have like 50 nodes, they're going to be just like raining in NFTs that day.
Yeah, it's like some people, man, in the community, and we'll leave it at after this topic, we'll end it because it's just over an hour now. But like a lot of people say to me, because I know what sort of NFTs I got, because in the earlier days, like I've this NFTs like what I had to try to work in with the Gravy Gang Guild to work out what we're going to do in these games. And they'd be like, "Oh, you're a whale," and it's like, yeah, well, like everything's relative, but I consider myself more like a pot-belly pig just cruising around in the sea with sharks and whales, like Forged in Crypto and all the rest of it. Like I've only got the one node. I've got a music node. I've got a founders node. You got some of these people that are legitimate whales. You know what I mean? And
I'm
it's
a
just
shrimp. I'm like this barnacle, like plankton in the sea, like all these giant people, like sharks, whales, dolphins swimming ahead of me. But I get it. Like people are at different aspects of their life. I'm 32. Like I'm halfway through my journey. But you have people that are 40, that are 50, that are already in their journey. Like people that have companies, people that have built up businesses, and they have the cash to actually spend on these assets. Where I'm still starting my journey, I don't have as much disposable income. So like Web3 is basically in gaming sense, it's like pay to win. You can basically buy the higher tier NFTs, right? And you can buy the higher tier assets and you have majority of the control of the assets because you've spent time in real life, you've like grinded real life so you can get that money and then you can buy what you actually want to buy. And then you have people like are younger or like my age that are still figuring out how to make money or they're building their own business, they're like doing their own thing. And maybe in 5 to 10 years, we could be like go from like a plankton or a shrimp up to like a crab or a dolphin. But it's a matter of perspective and timing, I think.
Yeah, I
And
like the
yeah,
pot-belly pig better, man. I hope you get up to that level because, we're not meant to be there, but we're just paddling around anyway.
I'll be like this as a gala content creator or as a Web3 content creator, I should say. Maybe I get, those 240K sponsorships that they might hand out maybe next year.
Yeah,
I think that's off the table.
We'll leave it at that on a high note, man. I've got high hope that you're going to be one of the leading faces. And, like I hope as time grows and as time goes on, that Gala actually start looking at people like yourself that, can be nicely critical.
Yep.
And, that's what we need, man. People know what's real, like you watch a lot of these content creators and all the rest of it, and it's a persona. Like I've spoken to you offline before. You're the same guy. So what,
what you see here is what you get in Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. And like a lot of these major ones, like I'm not going to name any because I don't want any, I'm not trying to clout chase or cause problems, but it's literally online persona. That's what you're signing up for. You're signing up for people that are professional shillers of projects that are hoping to get, that big sponsorship deal.
Yep.
So,
and also like my type of content is like, if you look at my Albion online content, it's exactly the same content, but just different game. Like how to make money, like top tier weapons, guides. It's all about gaming. I try not to focus on like the charts or like the 10x's or like buy this token because that's my side of why I'm in crypto. Like that's my private side of why I'm in crypto. But my YouTube side is to teach like gamers, like anyone actually, just like how to start playing the game, how to set up your wallet, how to buy an NFT, how to use that NFT in game, how to make money in game, what is the current strategy. Like it's just basically gaming content. Like I could do like the 10x content or like the price go up content and get a lot more views, get a lot more interactions. And as you said, probably get like sponsorships that pay you a good sum to just say, oh, buy this token. It's going to 10x in like 20 years or whatever. Not 20 years, in like 2 months. But, or you could hold it for 20 years. You get the idea. But I don't want to do that. I think how would you say? Pride or like honor? Yeah, let's go with honor. My honor doesn't allow me to show that type of stuff, bro.
Well, that's fair, man. So before we leave, man, how can people find you that are a part of my community that may not know about you?
Oh, you can find me on the main 3 platforms that I use are YouTube. Well, 4: YouTube, Twitch for live streaming and video content. I use X or Twitter for like my long posts or just chatting back and forth between people. And the main way you can find me is Discord. I'm always on Discord as a game. I have it up on the side on my second monitor. you can go to, I think, smilinmonster.com/smilingmonster, and it will take you to my profile, and it has all the links of wherever you can find me, like what I'm doing, what my current goals are. And it's because like I've got a website as well, smilinmonster.com, and you can just find information there about me.
Sweet. Well, thanks for being a guest on the podcast, man. I hope to talk to you again
Thanks
soon.
for having me.
I hope to
Yeah.
keep seeing you making content and being on shows like the Patio Show because it's interesting. And if you don't mind hanging around, man, I'll just end it now, and I'll just make sure that everything's like uploaded and all whatnot. So, see you, everyone. Thanks for dropping in.